Hey, it's time. I got the Jedi robe on. It's not my name for it. Somebody called it that on a previous episode. Let's hope the coffee tastes better today. I didn't even have a second cup of coffee yesterday. That's how meh this stuff was. But we'll see what happens, right? All right. I think we're in here in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Better. But still, something, I don't know, something in the roast. I don't think I'll be buying these again. But, you know, coffee is coffee. There's better coffee, but it's okay. Everything can't be the best. If everything's the best, everything is the same, and we normalize it, and it gets boring. So, gotta mix it up. Speaking of mixing it up, that's what yesterday was. Yesterday was all over the place. Yesterday was did some work here, and then I did some work at the office, and then I met a friend for coffee, tea, actually. And then I did work at Panera and had coffee. And then I went to the gym and the grocery store and came home and cooked dinner. I made peanut butter. Better than the last batch I made, but needs work. And managed to forget the one thing I went to the grocery store for. And the irony of that is, I was walking out of the store saying, how many times do people go to the grocery store and forget the one thing that they go for? I did that time, and I didn't even realize it as I was making a joke with myself about it. Forgot to get cat litter. I gotta go today. Now, if everything goes well, this evening I will be doing some Kempo training one-on-one with my instructor, Master Earl Smith. Shihan Earl Smith. He uses both titles. I haven't been able to make it since class shifted to Thursdays, so I reached out and I said, hey, what can we do? And he said, let's do Tuesdays. Come on up. I said, cool. So, I don't know how long I'll be doing that. Hour, couple hours. But he's a good teacher. And I look forward to learning and doing more. I'm a little bruised up from training on Sunday. I took off my shirt for a shower yesterday and noticed that I had a couple fingerprints right here. Somebody grabbed me. But that's okay. Better to learn what it's like to get beat up by your friends than to have it happen the first time on the street. Yeah, I think something was up with that mug, because this is dramatically different than yesterday. Who knows? So what's going on today? Today I've got one, maybe two interviews. The second one I'm not quite sure if it's happening. I got a bunch of stuff to do in between, some consulting stuff, some other some other whistlekick stuff. Maybe go to Costco, buy some cat litter while I'm up there. Those are the highlights. That's what I remember. Yeah. So let's dig into this thing. If you didn't check out yesterday's episode with Miss Julia Cross, you should. Good episode. She actually joined the Facebook group for Martial Arts Radio, so that was fun. Seeing everybody's comments. And if you want to ask me a question, which I will read and answer live on the show, you can do so by dropping it below, and I'll answer it tomorrow. All right, so here's what we got. It has been said, quote, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And that's a George Bernard Shaw quote. What do you think? Completely agree. So here's the thing. I turned 40 this year. I do not feel 40. I recognize I've been around for 40 years. I have a lot of memories. I've done a lot of stuff. I know I don't act 40. In fact, the day I turned 40, I was at the gym briefly, and having a brief conversation with a couple of the girls who work at the front desk, and they didn't believe I was 40. They thought I was 30. And yeah, I got a little bit of white in my beard, but I think I've aged pretty well. You know, I look at people who are roughly my age, and quite a few of them have not aged so well. You know, I don't want to be mean. I won't go any deeper than that, but I'm taking pretty good care of my body, and I've aged better than most. And I think the number one piece is not conceding that, oh, because I'm this age, I have to act in a certain way. There are things I have to tell myself that I need to do because adults do these things. I feel like I have, in many ways, the mind of a child. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. Sometimes people don't respect me. But it's a heck of a lot more fun. In fact, over the weekend, training with all these people, I felt like I was 15, 16. I didn't feel like I was 40 training with people in their 50s and 60s. I felt like I was 16 training with people in their 30s and 40s. And maybe there's a downside to that. You know, there were moments of feeling insecure, for sure. But if you're not enjoying life, if you're not playing, whatever that means to you, what's the point? Life isn't about moving stuff from A to B. It's about creating some joy and giving some positive energy and lifting others up and making an impact, even if it's only on yourself. I never want life to get to a point where it is so mundane or routine that I can't carve out time for enjoyment. I'm blessed in that I have more opportunities for enjoyment than I'm able to capitalize on between training, which I love, and working out, you know, whether it be on my own or CrossFit with my friends. You know, I love those too. I can go hiking almost any day. Not every day, because I gotta work. But so many of these opportunities, you know, if you look at them right, are more than one thing. So here's an example. A good friend of mine has a construction company. Small construction company, but a construction company. He does some beautiful, beautiful work, a lot of home renovation. And he is probably the most gifted woodworker I've ever met. I've seen the work that he does, and I've told him, so this isn't, I'm not sharing anything I shouldn't, but he really should be doing custom woodwork, not building houses. He's way too good. But it's what he chooses to do, and that's okay. So I was scheduled to go for a hike on Thursday before I had my teeth cleaned. I was going to take the day off, and he reached out and he said, you know, I could use some help at work. You've offered before. I said, yeah, hey, I'll come. You know, I'm not going to be able to do 40 hours a week or even 20, but I can probably get, you know, 10 hours a week in there for him, help him out, make a little bit of money, spend some time with a friend of mine, learn new skills. I mean, what's better than that? It's a good time. And if you look for those opportunities, you know, the lines between work and play can blur. You just have to be open to it. And because of that attitude, how am I going to feel waking up that morning, you know, getting ready, leaving the house to go do light construction? I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Is it all going to be fun? No. Is all aspects of, say, training, are they all fun? No. No. Some of it sucks. But you need all of it or it doesn't work. So what's the lesson? Play more. Be playful. Have fun. Imagine for a moment that you are writing a book titled The Blank Number of Habits of Highly Effective Martial Artists. That's not the title, but how many habits would there be, and what would be those habits? So it's funny that that comes up. I thought I settled the chapters for the next upcoming book. Yesterday, as I was falling asleep, I remembered another chapter that needed to go in. I think we're up to 14. I may cut down one or two. I need to decide what the number is. It's more than 7. Yeah, 7 habits of highly effective people. I know that number has worked well marketing wise. I'm not going to do the 7 habits of highly effective martial artists. I don't know what the title is. I'm fairly certain that habits title is trademarked. I don't want to steal it. I've got some title ideas brewing. And this book, this second book, is more for non-martial artists. The first book is for martial artists. It's called The Martial Artist Handbook. And it's a collection of things that primarily came out of martial arts radio. Excuse me. This book will be on practical advice for non-martial artists, but using examples from the martial arts. Kind of my take on like a Zen in the martial arts book. If you've watched this show, listen to martial arts radio, a bunch of you know how impactful that book was on me. So this is my attempt at doing something similar. Be really striving for elegance in it, which means short. See what we can do with it, right? Looking back on your season of gardening and growing your own food. Let me say that again. Looking back on your season of gardening and growing your own food, do you see any parallels between gardening and martial arts? Absolutely. In fact, if you listen to the episode of Martial Arts Radio with Shifu Jonathan Bluestein, who recently moved to Canada from Israel, he's a Chinese martial arts practitioner, kung fu practitioner, and instructor. That episode opens with like a 15-minute conversation about gardening, because I think he had just come in from the garden when I talked to him. And breaking down the term of kung fu, and kung fu meaning mastery, and not necessarily of martial arts, but of anything. And you can be a master gardener, and gardening can be kung fu. So when I look at my approach to gardening, it's very hands-off. It's very defensive. Very little time input. There are a lot of people who say, for example, like tomatoes. Tomatoes don't grow here. I end up with bugs, and they eat them, and it's gross and can't get anywhere. I pulled some green tomatoes after it got cold enough that those bugs died or hibernated or whatever they do. Those are ripening in a closet. But I know people who, instead of letting the tomatoes go, would put chemicals on and do all of these things to try and save the tomatoes, and in the end spend way more money to save their tomatoes than it would cost to just go buy them at the store. My gardening strategy is to focus on perennials, not trees, berries, things like that, and things that don't require a lot of work, which has turned out to be jalapenos, tomatillos, beets, kale, Swiss chard. Yeah, those are the things that did well. If I take that approach into my martial arts, or if I look at my martial arts, there are things that I enjoy and do well. And I see progress with not a ton, with a relatively less effort, such as forms. The tomatoes, I could make that happen. I could become a full contact martial artist. It's going to take a lot of work. And the results probably still aren't going to be that great. It doesn't jive with what works for me, and that's okay. I have no doubt that if that was important to me, I could find a way. I could make growing tomatoes work if that was important to me. But I have a finite amount of time. So I'd rather spend it on the things that I enjoy, the things that show progress, the things that I can take more benefit from. I enjoy going out to the garden and seeing positive results, the literal fruits of my labor. You know, pulling in and making, a gallon of tomatillo salsa. Yeah, it's green, so what? Tastes good, tastes great. I enjoy doing forms and progressing with that as I go. It's fun. There's no use banging your head on the wall. Right. This is definitely a better cup of coffee than yesterday. I blame the mug. I think the mug must have had some soap in it. I mean, it's still not the best coffee, but that or I'm just getting used to it. What else? That's it for questions. I might as well go get my day started. You can go get your day started. All right. If you want to ask me a question, drop it below. I'll answer it tomorrow. Shout out to Frank. I forget what title we gave you, Frank. Assistant, associate producer, something, some manner of producer. Frank helps a lot on the back end, so I want to shout him out and thank him for the great questions today. I love answering questions from different people. So please, help me out. Help Frank out. Help us all out. Let's make the show bigger and better. Let's grow. Don't forget, subscribe, turn on notifications, because we do this show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, only on YouTube. But you can catch it later in audio form in any podcast app. Now, for your homework. Find an opportunity to play today. Doesn't have to be much. Doesn't have to take long. Doesn't even have to be public. If you work in some big office, take a bathroom break, bring your phone and download Tetris and play for 5 minutes. Or maybe you have a one-person bathroom at work and you can shut it and you can make goofy faces at yourself in the mirror. If you don't usually do things like that, it might be really hard to do. If it's hard for you to play, it's a perfect sign you need to do it more. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.